they knew that had happened.
And they knew during the time...
He's admitted to me that they knew that had happened at the time.
But in other words, was this... so you were chosen in a sense.
I believe that I was... The only evidence... I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. The evidence that I have was that I was, from hearing about the sampling program, was that I was picked up as a random population sample. The son of a blue-collar worker, and just the son of my family was total blue-collar. But there are a lot of coincidences that suggest that people were moved into a place to later teach me that happened before 1973. Can I put my finger on that and say, oh yeah, they knew what was going to happen to me and that I was going to be picked up? I can't say that because I wouldn't be honest. But I get the feeling as though, Marcia has held up 2 letters to me, LG, for Looking Glass.
Oh, I see. I see.
I'm sitting here in the presence of an individual that actually knows more of the truth and cannot tell me, for whatever reason, more of the truth about what's happened to me than I know.
Okay.
She's just held up the letters LG for Looking Glass. She's indicating to me that they knew.
In other words, and Looking Glass is the ability to look into the future. So what you're suggesting is that
machine for that use, yeah.
MJ-12 was using Looking Glass, perhaps saw that the first son of MJ-1 was going to die, and planned to groom you to carry on.
It's possible.
In his place on some level.
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been told by them that.
Did J-Rod...
Excuse me, but the hints have been, forthcoming that is the reality involved. Because, even, and I don't know for certain that he was ever read into the program. God bless him, Jim, my mentor, Dr. Jim Reynolds. He was moved into places that almost set him up perfectly for Dodie's call, my mom's call that day, to talk with him at Long Beach Memorial Hospital. And she has since admitted, she admitted to Marcy that she received a sum of money. There are some not good things here, and I still love them both for everything that they've done for me, but yet there's an incompatibility now because I'm still the 8 or 9-year-old boy in their eyes that they're willing to try to take sovereignty away from, and it produces an incompatibility in the relationship.
What we're trying to find out, though, is how did you hook up with MJ-1 after that?
Well, the first time that I saw him was at the back of the meeting room at the George C. Page Museum when I was a member of the Los Angeles Microscopical Society.
How old were you?
13, 14.
So it was a few years after.
It was a few years after I started becoming really interested in all of the beakers and the microscopes and things like that, where I was introduced to Jim Reynolds at Long Beach Memorial Medical Center. Jim Reynolds then introduced my mom and myself to John DeHaas, who was then an associate professor of protozoology, as I understand, at the University of Southern California. He was also the head of DeHaas Optical, a microscope salesman, who then put me in contact with the Los Angeles Microscopical Society at the George C. Page Museum, with whom he was associated as a member, as a senior member, in fact, at the time. During the course of my association with the LA Micro Society, I saw the former MJ-1 walk in the back doorway. I sat at the back right of the room, which was where my spot kind of was. And I noticed him just standing back there, and he kind of just blended in with the crowd that was kind of coming and going. And he looked at me, and I looked at him because I noticed he was laying a little too long of a gaze on me. And I was paranoid as it was. I was scared to death just being around these bright people. These were accomplished scientists. Zane Price was one of them, who was the head of the Electron Micro Lab at UCLA. I mean, these were accomplished people. And I noticed he laid this gaze on me from the back of the room, and he took his lighter, and he opened, it was a Zippo lighter, and it had a United States Navy seal on it. And he just popped it and lit it, and closed it up, and walked out the back door. I had no idea who this dude was. Scared to ask anybody because I didn't want to look stupid. You know, I was a geeky teen. Later on, I find out that he just wanted to introduce himself to me early on. He wanted to see where I was in my life at the time. Now, of course, the association was already established because of the son Michael and all of that business from 73. This was like 1975, 76, right in that general time frame.
So, okay.
So that's my first
forward.
meeting with him, but I didn't really meet with him at the time. He showed himself to me.
I understand. And you have since developed a relationship with him such that there is affection there, and he does consider you his son.
He treats me very son-like, yes.
Okay. But would you also say that it's his, he regards you as his son literally, or he must be conscious of the shift or the transfer that took place.
He knows what happened on board. We've had long discussions about this.
Okay.
In fact, during we had an entire night discussion about it one night. You know, I'm trying to do the right things by everybody, and that's the only reason why. To be honest, I mean, my debriefing must come out to the public to the extent that the authentic message, the truthful message of what I've seen, comes out. And that concerns the extraterrestrial issue. But the rest of it, my losing my knees out at Mayboyer Park and falling at the base of the tree where my grandpa was, that's not required. But for people to know that it's not bullshit,